My name is Kevin Fernandez and welcome to my channel, Gamers Genie. Today we're going to be playing the environmental travel game, Parks. This 1 to 5 player game designed by Henry Audubon and published by Keymaster Games. In Parks, you take on the role of 2 hikers and you travel along the trail, going through each season, taking photos, collecting memorabilia, and other gear to help you through your hike, as most hikers do. But be careful, because there are other hikers who want to kind of succeed a little bit more in their end of year deal come New Year's. Will you be successful in fulfilling your New Year's resolution, plus seeing the sights, taking pictures, and seeing the local wildlife? Or will you go back in shame and have to talk to your family about how you didn't succeed in your New Year's resolution? Find out as we go to the table and learn how to play Parks. Place the board between all players. Place the 2 token trays to the left and right of the board, where they're easily within reach of all players, and return their lids to the box, which I have already done. Each tray holds all of the types of tokens and photos forming the supply. Shuffle all the park cards face down to form the park's deck. Deal 3 face up into the top slots of the board and place the deck onto the park's deck area on the top right of the board. Shuffle all of the gear cards face down to form the gear deck. Deal 3 face up into the bottom gear slots on the board and place the deck onto the gear deck area at the bottom right of the board. Shuffle the canteen cards face down and deal 1 face up to each player. This is their starting canteen. Place the remaining canteen deck on its area in the top left of the board. Shuffle the year deck. Deal 2 cards to each player. Players choose one of the 2 as their personal bonus for the year and discard the other face down. These cards uniquely reward a player for how well they accomplish their personal goal at the end of the game. These should remain face down until scored at the game's end. For your first game, just deal 1 to each player. Return any unused year cards face down to the box. Shuffle the seasons deck, place it onto the seasons area of the board, and reveal the topmost card as the first season. Begin creating the first season's trail below the board by placing the trailhead site tile on the far left. Separate the 5 basic site tiles: forest, mountain, valley, ocean, and vista. From the 4 advanced site tiles, advanced sites have a little asterisk down here. If playing a 4 to 5 player game, add the waterfall to the trail deck. If not, return it to the box. And this will be a 2-player game, so we're going to do that. Next, shuffle the advanced site tiles and add 1 to the basic sites to form the trail deck. Place the remaining advanced sites face down to the left of the trail head. Shuffle the trail deck, the basic sites, and the 1 advanced site, and reveal 1 site at a time directly from right to left, like so. Place each additional site to the right of the previously placed site until all are placed face up. Finally, place the trail end to the right of the last site. make sure it is not on its solo side, which looks like this. The trail for the first season is now formed. Give each player 2 hikers and the same color and place them onto the trail head, just for visual sake. Give each player a campfire matching their hiker color and place it on the lit side in front of them. Give the player who most recently went on a hike the first player marker. Give the camera to the right of the player with the first player marker. Return any unused hikers and campfires to the box, which we already did. I also want to mention, because they didn't quite cover that. I noticed they didn't quite cover this, but the first season is for this. You would gain water if you gain any mountains on your turn. And the weather condition, which is down here, so that would be skipping the ocean. We go sun, and then 2 rains, and then a sun and a rain. And now the trail is 100% complete. And that completes the setup. You are now ready to hike. The 4 seasons of the year make up the 4 rounds of play over the course of the game. Seasons change up gameplay each round, and the season ends when all hikers reach the trail end. To begin, see how this season will affect the gameplay for the round and if any immediate action is necessary from its effects. So we're going to read it. So you gain 1 water if you gain any mountains on a turn. So no immediate effect right away. Look at the season's weather pattern displayed on the bottom right of the card. Starting with the second trail site, place the indicated tokens from the weather pattern onto the trail, 1 per site, from left to right. Simply repeat this pattern down the trail and stop at the trail end. You are now ready to begin. So, as I said previously during our setup, it's 1 sun and 2 rain, and I showed you how to do that in the setup. The player with the first hiker marker takes the first turn of the season. On a turn, a player selects either one of their hikers and moves, like so, the hiker to the site of their choice down trail, anywhere to the right of the hiker's current location. When the hiker lands on a new site, the player performs the site's action. After taking the action, the next player clockwise takes a turn. Turns continue around the table until the season's end. So I did move my hiker to the ocean, which is the next step. But you do not need to go 1 step at a time. You could actually start here, and if you wanted to, you can go all the way to the trail end. If that's what you want to do, you can go to the forest, the vista, the valley, the mountain, or the river. Any one of those is choice, but for now we'll go to the ocean. If another hiker, even your own, is already occupying a site, then it cannot be visited unless you use your campfire. If you would like to move your hiker to a site that's occupied, so if Jordan wanted to move her hiker to the ocean, she has to take her campfire right here and flip it on its extinguished side and put it back with the remainder of her stuff. If a hiker is the first to land on a site with a token from a weather pattern, they take it into their supply as a bonus along with taking the site's action. So for example, if I moved to the forest, not only would I get this sun, but I would also claim this forest token right here as well. Note, you must be able to take a site action in order to visit it. Wildlife comes in 12 different shapes and sizes, but all are simply considered wildlife. If there's any indication in the name, they are wild. They can be used in place of any other token to visit parks or take photos. Wildlife cannot be used in canteens towards buying gear. A brown square icon denotes that any token may be used, and the number inside specifies how many. Players can carry up to 12 tokens and with them. If you have more than 12 at the end of your turn, you must discard down 212. When you gain a canteen card, place it face up in front of you on the empty side. A canteen can be filled with water on a turn to take its action. To fill a canteen, place water gained, then turn that turn unto the canteen instead of into your supply and perform the canteen's action. Note, canteens cannot be filled with water that was not gained that turn. It needs to be fresh water. So we're going to put that with Jordan. You can have any number of canteens, and any number of your canteens can be filled on a turn if you gain multiple waters. Once a canteen is filled, the water remains on it until the end of the season and cannot be used any other way. To take a photo, return any 2 tokens of your choice to the supply when choosing the action at the Vista. Photos are worth 1 point each. After taking a photo at the Vista, gain the camera from whoever currently has it. When you have the camera, you're on a roll. When taking a photo, it only costs 1 token instead of 2. At the season's end, the player with the camera may take a photo to reduce its price. Some gear cards give players more photo opportunities outside the Vista, but they do not give the player the camera. So, for example, let's say Jordan has the camera right now, but let's say I went to the Vista. I would claim this water token first of all because it's right there and nobody's been on there yet. Then I would turn in my sun and the water token that I've gotten to take a picture. The camera then would go to me, and I would also gain a photo which is worth 1 point, and you can see it on the back. Sometimes a hiker is already at the site you want to visit. To visit a site that is occupied by another hiker, including your own, you must use your campfire by flipping it over to the exhausted side. If your campfire is extinguished, you cannot visit a site occupied by another player, including your own. A player's campfire will relight when one of their hikers reaches the end. So for example, Jordan, as I demonstrated, had flipped hers already face down, so she cannot visit any other site where I am. What she would have to do is go to the trail end, pick one of these places, and flip it on the reignited side. So now her other figure can move to the same site as one of mine. Speaking of which, trail end gives hikers a moment to reflect on the journey. When a hiker arrives here, the player immediately relights their campfire, as I have demonstrated, if it is extinguished, and then chooses one of the available areas for their hiker, placing it vertically in the farthest right available slot of the area. So let's say Jordan decided to reserve a park. Perfect. To reserve a park, choose one of the 3 available parks on the board and draw the card on the top of the park's deck. So Jordan could pick this park right here and reserve it, and then draw the top card on the park's deck. Place the park card face up horizontally, like so, in front of you to keep it separate from your vertical stacked visited parks. If a park was reserved from the board slot, reveal a new park, like I did, from the park's deck into the empty slot. When taking the visit a park action on future turn, you may visit one of your reserve parks or one of the 3 available on the board. The first player to place their hiker here also gains the first player token. So Jordan, when the game starts up for the second round, will be the first player. As benefit, by placing their hiker in the far right slot. After this, any number of other players may still reserve parks here, but they don't gain the first hiker marker. The first hiker marker is worth 1 point at the end of the game. Gear supplements your journey, giving extra benefits at the trail site, or making it easier to visit certain parks. To buy gear cards, place your hiker on the Buy Gear section. Select one of the 3 available gear cards on the board and turn in sunshine equal to its cost. All gear cards have ongoing abilities, and some have an additional instant action, activated one time immediately upon purchase. Place the gear you acquired, I'll take this one since it's free, face up in front of you. Utilize their ongoing ability to their full potential. So I grabbed the binoculars, and it says that I may gain a wild instead of 2 sun at the valley. In a game of 3 or fewer players, the first hiker to buy gear places their hiker on the sun slot without a 4, which is right next to where I placed my hiker. It also has a plus on it too, so it indicates if you're playing 4 or 5 players. This gives them 1 sunshine discount on their gear purchase. After this, any number of other players may buy gear, but do not receive the discount in the game with 4 or more players. The slot farthest right is also available, so the first hiker to choose this option is the first to receive 1 sun discount on their gear card. So for example, the binoculars cost 1 sun, but it was free because it was a 1 sun discount. I was the first one there. And of course, refill the slot with a new gear card when this has been purchased. Any number of hikers can occupy the visit park area. To visit a park, choose one of the 3 available parks on the board, or one of your reserve parks like the one Jordan has on reserve, and turn it in its corresponding token. So for example, let's say I wanted to visit a park. I would need 4 sunshine at least to visit this middle park. I turn in the 4 sun and take the park. Take it, place it vertically into your score area. The points denoted on the park will be scored at the end of the game. So it's 2 points for Gateway Arch National Park. Parks can be stacked, showing their resources and points. Whenever a park is visited on the board, reveal a new park from the park's deck and place it into the empty slot. When the player's 2 hikers reach the trail end, they will no longer take turns for the season. When only 1 hiker is left on the trail, like there is kind of right now, the player must move their hiker to the trail's end and choose an action there. This marks the end of the season, so the player with the camera may take a picture. I believe that is me, so I take another picture. Start a new season through these steps. So you empty all your canteens. It looks like Jordan and I did not fill our canteens, so we don't need to do that. Return all hikers to the trail head. Done that. Pick up all the trail sites except for the trail head and trail end. So I'm going to take these. Take them all back. Shuffle them to create a new trail for the next season. The trail should now be 1 site longer. So I'll take one of our empty trails and we're going to shuffle them up. Put the previous season card on the bottom of the season deck. So this goes back. Reveal the new season from the season deck. Apply the weather pattern to the trail as before. So first I need to put out my stuff. So I'm going to put this. Okay. Extra trail. And then the weather pattern is a water and a sun, skipping the first one. So we got water, water, sun, water, sun. The player with the first hiker marker takes the first turn of the new season. Jordan had, as you know, Jordan has the first player token, so she would take her first turn. When the 4th season ends with its photo opportunity, the game is over. All players revealed their year cards, then score points for their parks, photos, and personal bonuses for their year. the first hiker also gives 1 point to the player who has the first player token. The player with the most points at the end of the game is the winner. If tied, the win goes to the player who visited the most parks. If still tied, the win is shared. Year cards can give a player an extra 2 or 3 points depending on how well the player accomplished their goals. One example would be visit 6 parks with trees. This goal rewards 2 points if they visited 6 park cards that have a tree symbol on them. Other goals often focus on taking photos and having a specific number of symbols across players' visited parks. Note, for the Year of Plenty, your goal is to have 12 or 18 of the same symbols across your visited parks. But it can be any of the 4 types. And that's all you need to know to play Parks. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel, click on that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified when we release new videos. I'd like to take the moment to thank my current Patreon supporters. Your help means a lot to this channel. If you want to become a Patreon supporter yourself, click on the link in the description below to our Patreon page. Be on the lookout for our upcoming gameplay video on Parks. But until then, thanks for the views.